a hostile planet full of deadly contrasts. Exposed to the intense heat and force of the nearby sun, a dead sphere covered in the remnants of catastrophic explosions, a strange celestial planet that is still hiding a lot of secrets. This is Mercury, the planet in our solar system that is nearest to the sun. Hello and welcome to Z. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Let's learn more about it. The initial space Mercury is relatively close to the Earth, but because of its proximity to the sun, it can only be seen in the sky at the very horizon, and even then, it is only visible just before sunrise or right after sunset. For this reason, ancient astronomers mistook Mercury for two different celestial bodies, each of which was given a different name. Only with the development of observational tools have scientists been able to gradually unravel some of the mysteries surrounding this strange universe. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system, according to the accumulating data. Some satellites have even surpassed it. Given its tiny size, the celestial object is notable for its nearly completely round shape, with the difference between its equatorial and polar diameters being less than 1 kilometer. Its radius is 2,440 kilometers, or around 38 times that of the Earth. When comparing the parameters of Mercury with those of nearby celestial objects, it is found that Mercury is heavier than Ganymede and Titan combined, despite the fact that their diameters are larger. This is likely because Mercury is surrounded by a massive metallic core that has a radius of up to 2,000 kilometers, making up roughly 57% of the planet's volume. The core is surrounded by a 400-kilometer layer of mantle composed of molten silicate rocks. The planet's surface is heavily cratered, and the mantle is coated in a hard crust that can reach a thickness of 15 to 37 kilometers. According to their findings, the celestial body has not experienced any discernible geological activity in the last 3.8 billion years. Music. Mercury is difficult to observe through a telescope in bright sunlight, but until recently, in the second half of the 20th century, this was the only method for studying the planet. That all changed in 1974, however, when the space probe Mariner 10 reached the planet's surroundings and took pictures of 45% of the celestial body's surface in addition to measuring its temperature and magnetic field. The probe's sensors also detected the planet's unusually rarefied atmosphere, which is composed of helium and other gases. 30 years later, on August 3, 2004, another spacecraft took off the face of the Earth Messenger. It took a long 11 years to reach its target, but the little probe did tackle all obstacles and eventually accomplished its mission in the period from 2011 to 2015. Messenger beamed back hundreds of thousands of images for scientists to study, including pictures of Mercury's almost entire surface. Thanks to these pictures, important data was obtained on the celestial body's inner makeup, and various features of the planet's relief were detected, including unique ones in the solar system. Messenger's sensors also helped suppliers with some knowledge about the solar wind and its unusual interaction with the planet's magnetosphere. Mercury follows an elongated elliptical orbit around the Sun, which takes 88 days to complete. In its perihelion, the planet approaches the Sun as close as 0.31 astronomical units, with the distance in the aphelion being 1.5 times as big at 0.47 astronomical units. Because of its unique orbital resonance in the solar system, Mercury is of particular interest. Its stellar day, which is equal to 58.65 Earth days, or 2/3 of the Mercurian year, causes the planet to face the Sun alternately, first on one side and then the other in the perihelion. These areas, known as hot meridians, are the ones that receive the most solar radiation. One of these areas is home to the largest known geological formation of Mercury, known as Caloris Planitia on maps. This area is the hottest place on Earth, with temperatures reaching 700 Kelvin, or 427 degrees Celsius. The name, which translates as a heated plain, is entirely appropriate. The plain is a massive impact crater that stretches 1,550 kilometers and makes up around 2% of Mercury's entire area. According to estimations, the crater was created about 3.9 billion years ago when the planet collided with a massive asteroid that had a diameter of up to 100 meters. The impact would have destroyed a large portion of the barely solidified crust on Mercury, which at the time was a young, hot protoplanet. Molten lava would have spilled over a vast area of the planet's surface when it cooled and solidified. The surface of Caloris Planitia is dotted with numerous craters, some of which are up to 100 kilometers in diameter. The most notable feature on this plane, however, is Pantheon Fossae, which is unique in the solar system. It is created by a radial set of 230 troughs or extension forts, with a width ranging from 1 to 8 kilometers. The majority of the troughs are no longer than 175 kilometers, with some even longer. A relatively large crater called Apollodorus is located not far from the center of Pantheon Fossae, but its relationship to the troughs is still unknown. There are currently multiple theories regarding the formation of the Pantheon, with one suggesting that tectonic activity caused the giant cracks to appear and another blaming the planet's cooling for the region's flames and light. However, if we travel a little farther north, we will encounter a land of ice and darkness. The tilt of Mercury's proper motion axis is very small, which is why its polar regions are perpetually enveloped in dusk. The sun here either hangs by the very horizon or does not appear in the sky at all. Its rays haven't touched the bottoms of some of the craters for as long as millions of years. There is no wonder that Borealis Planitia, a plain surrounding the planet's north pole, is the coldest region here. The temperature in some of its areas is around 80 Kelvin, which is 193 degrees Celsius below zero. Some deposits of water ice have been detected here in the shade of the mountain ridges around craters, measuring up to 2 meters in thickness. They are covered by a layer of rocky dust, preventing the ice from evaporating. At the same time, some elevations that do catch sun rays may get as hot as 380 Kelvin or 107 degrees Celsius. Interestingly, such contrasting areas of the surface may lie almost next to each other, but the planet's rarefied atmosphere does not allow them to effectively exchange heat, and so the stark temperature contrast remains. Our tour is getting us to more southern latitudes, practically on one parallel with Caloris Planitia, but 3,500 kilometers to the west. There is one of the largest craters on Mercury, the Ramanoff. Its diameter measures up to 290 kilometers, and it's roughly 1 billion years old. There is a tall peak ring in its center. It is formed by tall mountain peaks and measures roughly 130 kilometers in diameter. The rocks in this area are different from the rest of the landscape. There are already hues and signs of solidified streams that can be distinguished on the surface. This structure is assumed to be of volcanic origin and is a mark of one of the last volcanic activity events on the planet. Also, the lowest point on Mercury's relief has been registered here, which is minus 5,380 meters relative to the average value for the planet. Beyond the central ring, there are comparatively smooth and dark expanses. Moving on to the south, we will see a gigantic escarpment stretching for 820 kilometers from southwest to northeast. It is called Enterprise Rupees, which in some places towers as high as several thousand meters. There are quite a few escarpments on Mercury, but Enterprise Rupees is the largest. These bizarre features of terrain are believed to have formed as the planet could. When Mercury's interior gave away some of its heat, the celestial body slightly shrank, losing roughly 1% in volume. This deformed the planet's lithosphere, which produced gigantic foams. Approximately half of Enterprise Rupees is situated within the area of Mercury's largest crater, Rembrandt. Measuring 716 kilometers in diameter, the wide basin encompasses numerous smaller relief features. For instance, there are small mountain ridges that extend from the crater's outer ring to its center, with a width of between 1 and 10 kilometers and a potential length of 180 kilometers. On the bottom of the crater, there is an intricate pattern of deep fissures that resembles a spider web. Another ridge forms a ring that is around 450 kilometers in circumference. Even though astronomers have paid close attention to Mercury and the planet has advanced in observation technology, it is still mysterious and largely unexplored. However, more in-depth studies of the rocks that make up the crater's surface are thought to help us better understand Mercury's inner makeup and the processes operating in its interior. Currently, the Baby Colombo spacecraft, a cooperative venture between the European Space Agency and Japan, is swiftly approaching this celestial body. The spacecraft's technology will assist in gathering information about the planet's surface and atmosphere, research the solar wind and magnetosphere, and keep data on relief features up to date. Although Baby Colombo has already passed Mercury, there are still a few complex maneuvers to complete in order to break through and enter operational orbit around the planet. This is expected to occur by 2025, at which point the spacecraft will proceed to gather and transmit data. Regretfully, it will take some time before any probes land on Mercury's formidable surface because of the harsh conditions and accessibility issues that make this planet particularly difficult to explore, but eventually it will have to reveal its secrets to us. Despite everything, exploration of the universe continues, and we are happy to be watching this process with you. Please feel free to support our efforts by giving us a like and subscribing to our channel to gain more.